Hello. So, Markable here with another edition of the Valhalla podcast. I don't know what episode number we're at this point, but it doesn't really matter. I'm sitting here today with Mr. Dan Adams, a friend who basically met online and a fellow superhero who has really jumped into the game in a way that I truthfully respect and that I truthfully understand, which is he's just going out there, he's going for it, and he's part of this project that he's begun called the Higher Purpose Project. It's changing people's lives. I've seen it. I've been following it online. We helped contribute to getting people to go, and they even donated some money to Valhalla, which is awesome. And so, from my understanding, there's another session going on in January. We'll talk more about that. But first, Dan, how are you?
I'm doing really good, Mark. Thanks a lot for having me on today. It's a pleasure to just to chat.
Yeah, I mean, I got to point out, I pointed this out when we first got on the call. The wall behind you is killer. I mean, can you give me an explanation as to what that is? How does that work for you? What are you doing with that?
Yeah, it's all a vision board. So I'm a really visual person, and I find it's really helpful for me just to kind of have a bunch of pictures of things that I want to incorporate into future experiences, into things that I want to do. And I find that by looking at it every day, the resources come for me to build it. And so I've kind of like wallpapered my entire space with, things I just want to incorporate into the Higher Purpose Project, or just, future visions that I want to bring to life.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it seems like to me? It's like it's the real version of Pinterest.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where, I have so many things that inspire me throughout the day, small little moments or thoughts. And I would love to have like this place where I can post them. And I guess Facebook and these kind of things do that. But the difference is that it gets filtered out and then eventually goes down and you forget about it. But if you have it on your wall and you see it, and every once in a while it catches your attention, it'd be such a great reminder of like some of the little things in life that motivate you or make it, bring some kind of inspiration to your life in some way.
Absolutely. And I think like just the act of cutting stuff out and like putting it on a wall, just the act of doing that, it kind of accelerates like the process a little bit. With Pinterest, you can just click on something and then you easily forget it. Yeah. But with this, it's more of a physical process, and it's something that you see every single day, like when you wake up. And so I think it's been really helpful for me with building the things that are important to me.
Absolutely. I mean, it's turning it into a ritual. It's turning something small that you do, like brushing your teeth, like whatever it is, into some kind of ritual that means something to you. And I think you'll probably better retain that information, that image, whatever it is, when you do that, right? It's like it's one of those things. That's just how it works.
Absolutely. And you guys, completely understand this. Building such a large scale vision is you have to break things into small, like scalable steps.
Mm-hmm.
And you wake up each morning, and for me, I always start the morning with like a gratitude, where I kind of set the tone of like appreciation, for where I'm at, the experiences I've had. And so it makes my day a lot easier, rather than suffering for every little thing that I'm trying to build. I'm kind of just like in a flow state, and the resources just come to you when you're kind of emanating that type of energy. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I want to talk a little bit more about something like that, which is, you pointed out something that I personally believe, and then people ask me, how the hell do you take on such a big project? How do you do it? Like, how do you, whether it be a client, whether it be Valhalla, whatever it is, they always ask me, like, how do you really start to do something? How do you really make it happen on a day-to-day basis? And if you work from home and these kind of things, like, how do you stay on top of your stuff? And I mean, I say there's two things. First is write it down. You have to plan. You have to put it somewhere. You have to make sure that you are reminded with it. I personally jumped on. I used to do paper and pen, and I had an agenda. I still like that method, but I'm for the sake of the environment and consumerism and all that stuff, I'm trying to do it all online now. But I use something called Wunderlist, which is I'm assuming you probably have something similar.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So it's like, you post all your things that you need to do, you put them in different categories, and you just kind of check them off as you go. And then every once in a while, you find yourself with like, oh, what can I do right now? And you go through your list, you pick the things that you can just do, and you get them done.
Yeah.
But people are like, yeah, but if you write 100 things on the list, you're still going to be just as overwhelmed as you were before, right? And so the other trick I always give to people, and what you just pointed out, and you reminded me of this, is do one thing a day for the project or for your dream. Just one thing that you're going to thank yourself for tomorrow that you just did and you make move forward or whatever. And just doing that one thing is amazing how much like things like Valhalla have come together, because it's not just me doing one thing anymore. It's a group of people. And this group slowly but surely moves into making this idea a reality. And
absolutely. I mean, I think the key is also prioritizing, because the way the mind works, whenever you want to do something or you need to do something that's uncomfortable, you'll try to escape. And so a lot of people, they'll watch sports, they'll get on the internet, they'll start screwing around, they'll set up a bunch of menial tasks that are really easy to complete, and they'll feel like they're doing something. They'll create like a sense of busyness to avoid having to do the work that they need to do. So one of the key things for me is just kind of, before I go to sleep at night, Phil Drolet and I talk a lot about this in just kind of like productivity strategies for people. We kind of outline the things that we want to do the next day. We set our intentions, and then we basically rank those intentions with the importance of the impact of completing each one. And so what we do is we take the one that we fear doing the most, the one that we hate, like just dread doing, and we do that first thing in the morning. So it's this thing called like Eat the Big Ugly Frog that Brian Tracy made popular. And it really sets the tone for the rest of your day, because it's all an illusion. Like our perceptions dictate our reality, and a lot of times we create this problem around this this intention, and we really just need to kind of focus on the solution. And by doing it, it just it makes everything else like that much easier, and it moves you a lot faster towards your goal. It really accelerates your path, because every day you're doing something that you fear, that you thought that you couldn't do, or it would be like a pain in the butt to get done, and you do it, and that's what the difference is between outliers and people that lead menial lives doing what other people tell them to do.
Absolutely. I mean, I love that concept. Actually, Phil is the one who kind of brought that one to my attention. It's something that I kind of naturally have heard about, reading the 4-Hour Work Week, those kind of things are kind of like brushed upon and mentioned. But I agree with what Phil and I guess you and whoever coined it, doesn't even matter. Yeah. The point is that it's doing that crappy, shitty, big task or whatever it is, even sometimes it's just a small task, that thing that you really don't want to do, and doing that first is so powerful to getting stuff done. It's amazing. The other thing to me is like you always have to do that task before you do something else that is very distracting. And recently I've made a change where this is what I used to do every day. I would wake up, the first thing I would do is check my emails and Facebook and see what messages came in that I had to deal with that day. That is probably the worst thing I've ever done. It's probably the worst, most destructive thing for my productivity and for my own goals that I've ever done, because I instantly start my day by literally doing things that other people are asking of me, as opposed to what I've set forth in terms of my intentions in what I want to achieve. And so I tell people, like, don't check your emails right away. Get the task done, check your emails later. At the end of the day, nothing is that important that has to be done at 9 in the morning. It could be done at 10:30. When you're done their other big task or whatever it is, you could handle it later. And it's just one of those things that people, you have to enter this mindscape where checking your emails is really stressful. It's one of those things that sometimes you get emails that work you up, and it sets the tone. It sets the tone for the rest of your day, and it can send you down a downward spiral, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And you just have to understand that you're the creator of your path. Like you're the one that's writing your story, and a lot of people just aren't conscious of that. So it's really kind of getting out of your comfort zones, and really setting the intentions for what you want to create in this world and what you want to do. Our time here is limited, so if you're not focused on connection and growth, then it's a waste. You're not going to be building a path that's going to bring you any type of happiness in the future.
Absolutely. So that being said, you're on a path to happiness here. I think it's a journey like any other hero's journey, as we've talked about in the past on past podcasts and stuff. And it seems like you're trying to unlock this path for other people, and you're trying to get people to like kind of take the first step and leap that will send them down this spiral of a hero's journey. That's how I understand the Higher Purpose Project. But maybe you can give me a little bit more insight on what you're doing, what the Higher Purpose Project really is,
Yeah.
and what's going on with that.
Absolutely. So I created the Higher Purpose Project as a result of kind of going on my own little hero's journey. You know, I was working in corporate America, and I grew really disenchanted with what I was doing. I mean, I love my parents, I love my father, but I was kind of living his life in a lot of ways, and I found that it wasn't aligned with my particular skill sets and my passions. And
Mm-hmm.
so I saw a documentary on a kid that was born without arms and legs, but he refused to kind of surrender to any type of physical limitation, and he was just constantly, proving people wrong, confronting his own fears and his perceived limitations. And this kid who was born with partially formed arms and legs, like he won 32 matches in high school wrestling. And seeing his story, I was like, this kid is an amazing tool to get people to dive inwards, because they look at him and they're like, what type of adversities am I really facing right now? And it gives people a new awareness about how to handle problems, and to push past like their own limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And so we ended up going to Africa and we built an adaptive climbing system for this young man, and he bear crawled to the top of Kilimanjaro. It was a ridiculous vision. I basically sold everything I had, and over 9 months we raised close to $60,000. We brought a full film team. We captured the experience, and it ended up winning an ESPY. And this is all vision that I had in corporate America. And as a result of taking this leap, all these resources came to us, and we met all these amazing people that helped us along our journey. And a lot of people in life, they don't see this world. It's something that they never experience. And so when you can bring people into this atmosphere where you have people that have kind of gone outside of the traditional path to build really really wonderful lives, doing really cool stuff that is aligned with their passions, it really empowers people, and it gives them like a new awareness and a new model, and it allows them to apply it to their own path. So
Mm-hmm.
I created the Higher Purpose Project basically to bring in, just all these amazing outliers that I've met in my life, and I wanted to create a really intimate experience to help create leaders in different communities. There's a lot of consumer-based stuff out there, and I really wanted to focus on providing tremendous value to attendees to basically build out their passions, build out their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And so the project is a 3-month project. It consists of weekly webinars,
Okay.
so people can take part in their job, do the things that they're doing, and continue to learn in the project. It also consists of a 4-day summit, so people fly out to our summit location, which we just got done doing 2 right outside of Los Angeles. We run the project quarterly, and we're getting ready for a January summit on the East Coast in Tallulah Falls, Georgia. So we keep it really, really intimate. People apply to be part of the project, and we get hundreds of applications, and we select 25 people that we believe will interact well as a group, and have particular goals or interests that we believe that we can help forward. So the whole project is focused towards the attendees. Facilitators like Eric James, who's going to be the first person to photograph the Virgin Galactic Space Mission, Thad Roberts, the former astronaut, Alexi Panos, who's an HGTV host and kind of went outside the conventional path to set up her own nonprofit organization called Epic. Jordan Romero, who's 13 years old and summited Everest.
Awesome.
Just lots of cool people, and they share their stories in an attempt to take principles, universal principles, to be applied to people attending, so people can take insights from these people's lives and apply it to their own, and just learn through their direct experiences, which I believe is the only way you can learn in this world.
Mm-hmm. So it basically sounds like a series of webinars and an event on steroids to motivate the hell out of you to get up and do something and do what you're passionate about. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah, it's basically like Professor X's X-Men Academy, School of the Gifted.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for people that are compassionate, humble, down to earth, and really want to connect with people that operate at a higher level. Are tired of just kind of doing the same old thing, and really want to build a large scale vision. With whatever that is.
Yeah, so they're basically, you're definitely appealing to people who are in a position that they maybe like or maybe really dislike, and they want to kind of switch their focus, kind of narrow their intentions into something different, and getting those people motivated and getting, you know, the contacts and resources and things necessary to doing this kind of stuff. And, you know, people ask me, and they're like, you know, I hear about these projects, and these webinars, and these conferences and whatever, and there's so many of them that are fucking full of shit. Okay, and it's, you know, I pardon my language on this, but it's the truth. Yeah. There's so many people out there. It's like, get rich quick and this, that, and the other, and this is really different than that. And I really want to point this out to people. You know, we're not doing this podcast because Dan is just some guy who wants to sell some stuff. We're not making money off of this or anything. I'm here purely to tell you that Dan and the Higher Purpose Project and these kind of things are awesome, and they will change your life. And I haven't been, but the only reason I haven't been is because, you know, I don't know. It's recent. Yeah. It's new. I probably will go. I probably will attend at some point, and I don't doubt that I might, like, you know, play some kind of role or part in it at some point.
Yeah.
But for now, what my role is to help propagate it. And to get back to the point, which is, there's a lot of seminars out there that are full of shit. And the real thing that you need in any business or in any venture or in any project is you need people who believe in you. You need the right connections. And you need the undying will to make it happen and to do something about it every single day and never giving up. And I think the Higher Purpose Project, in my opinion, satisfies all three of those criteria.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the most important part of any project is, you know, the people. I don't listen to anyone, you know, trying to teach me anything if they haven't done it first themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so important in our world. I mean, there's so much information out there. You know, you lead through your example. You lead through the things that you do, and you have to hold the energy that you want to create in an event or a project, you know, every single day in your life for that project to come to life. If not, it falls tremendously short, because people always can sense authenticity, and they can always sense if you're a true doer, you know, because everyone serves as a reflection, you know, to everyone else. It's a mirror effect. And so if you have insecurities and you have fears on certain things, people will bring that out. And as part of leading a project, you know, you're sharing information, you're trying to provide a great value to people. And so if you're not 100% sure about your own path and you haven't kind of taken a leap on your own, you know, you're going to get called out. And I think I think people have a lot of good intentions out there. You know, I think collaborating is really important. Just, you know, before you can teach anything, you really have to embody it first. And I've really been conscious with every single person that I brought in, you know, to the initiative, you know, to teach and share their experiences. You know, I first wanted them to, you know, to be able to do it themselves and speak through their experiences. Because if not, people just teach through textbooks, and then, you know, like, I just tune out. I never wanted the experience to be like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, this is the real way of going out there, getting the experience, meeting the people, creating the network of people that you need to meet and that you need to do this. And people, you know, I've heard every excuse that there is. It's like, oh, why should I do something like this? It's going to cost me money. And it's like, yeah, cool. It's going to cost you money. But you know what else costs you money? You being unhappy with the things that you do in your life. You will make so much more money if you're happy doing the things that you're going to do than if you're unhappy and you're just doing it for money. Like I always tell people, don't make money your motivation. Money comes through success. If you're happy at something, you will be successful at it. And if you're successful, you will get paid to do whatever it is. People get paid to do freaking everything. There's people who get paid to plant trees and they love it. There's people who get paid to pick up garbage. They love it. There's people who get paid to do absolutely everything in the world. There's people who get paid to go to space. There's people who get paid to do everything that you possibly could ever wish to do. And people get paid to sit at home, watch sports, do whatever. The point is, you have to have this mindset where you're going to just do it no matter what. Yeah. And I think that's what the Higher Purpose also seems to point out. It seems like you guys are bringing in a group of motivational speakers and people who have done it, but not only done it, but they're doing it actively. You know, it's not like, oh, hey, I did this, and I'm some person who I believe I'm above anybody. It's more like, hey, I did this, and the only reason I'm telling you this is because I want you to do it too, not because I'm here to make money, not because I'm here to sell you on some kind of book or another webinar and another seminar and again and again and again. You know, this to me is an eye-opener that everyone should go on. You know, some people do it in the form of a trip. They take a backpack and head out somewhere on their own. Some people do it in a way that they just quit school and they drop everything and they try something new. there's many ways you can enter the hero's journey, but I guarantee you that something like this will put you on a fast track into something like that. You know, for those who don't know what the hero's journey is, you got to just Google it. There's tons of books and things about you know, we have another podcast. You can go listen to that. Maybe I'll link that too, where we explain it and we talk about it. But I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how many people are looking for inspiration. I find that so overwhelming sometimes. There's so much inspiration around me, and I have so many ideas all the time that my true problem is that I have to focus. It's like I get all these crazy ideas, and I want to like kind of start all of them, and my real thing is like, okay, focus. And then I turn around and I see so many people who are like, man, you know, I'd love to do this, but you know, can't do my 9 to 5. And it's like,
yeah,
oh man, like if I can only teach them something, like just do it no matter what.
Yeah, the thing I hate the most is when someone says, you know, I can't afford to do that or I don't have the time. Really, it's a form of laziness, because money is just a form of energy. You know, you're a creator and you're constantly building your path. And so you just have to understand that, you know, when you take the leap doing something, you know, that you want and you have clarity in what it is you want to do, the resources are unlocked. And the reason why more people, you know, don't kind of subscribe to this is because, you know, they're just not aware. Most people focus on what they don't want as opposed to what they want. So whatever you put your awareness on expands. And, you know, I work with, I even hire my own coaches sometimes because I want to, you know, make sure that I'm not blocked in any way and, you know, I'm continually pushing myself. So I work with this lady, Laura Fredrickson, who's amazing. Her story is pretty cool. But, you know, we talk about, you know, just the process of bringing visions to reality. And the thing about the world is it always presents contrast to you, so adversities, ups and downs, you know, opposites. And it's almost like ice cream flavors, you know? So, you know, when somebody presents, like, when the world presents chocolate to you and you don't like chocolate, well, don't focus your attention on chocolate. Focus on vanilla, what you want to experience. And, you know, by focusing your awareness on the positives, focusing your awareness on, you know, the skill sets you have, the resources you currently have, you can get anywhere that you want to go. The key is where you're at, you know, on the emotional scale. You know, if you're with a sense of, you know, appreciation and compassion and have like gratitude towards those around you, you're gonna emanate like a different level of presence when you interact with them, as opposed if you're like in a state of fear, like worry, resentment, then, you know, you're not going to cue into certain things, and, you know, you're going to be in a state of kind of like powerlessness, being like, oh, you know, I'm a victim of this and I'm not going to be able to do this. And, you know, you just continue to create more of the same, which is basically a life of lack. And
Absolutely,
you know, it's up to us to make that decision.
You reap what you sow. At the end of the day, if you are putting out something, you're just going to get it right back. You know, I always say life is lived in the mirror. Everything that you feel externally is only because you feel it internally. And it sucks. And it sucks sometimes, but it's so true. And I love it. You know, I laugh at it. No matter what it is, like there's things that anger me at times or whatever it is, or I get frustrated or I'm just trying to do something and I keep having to like hit a wall, or I keep having to like, you know, try and power through something. Like, it's stupid stuff sometimes. Like today, I got a ticket the other day, I don't know, a couple months ago, and I paid it through the mail. First of all, I tried to go to the bank and pay it. They're like, oh, we don't accept the payment at this bank. Unfortunately, it says all financial institutions or all major financial institutions, and I'm at one of the major financial institutions, but this bank doesn't accept it. I'm like, okay, great. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I'm already annoyed. I have to send it by the mail and stuff. So I go, I send it. They don't get it. They send me a letter back saying I owe more money now. And then I go and they're like, oh, you can pay it at this bank, like this other bank. So I go to this other bank and they're like, no, sorry, we don't process these payments. So now I have to go back to the post office, send it again, hope that they actually get it this time. Small little things. Small little things can throw you off. But at the same time, this happened literally to me today. At the same time, I took it and I laughed. Sometimes every once in a while, I just take the thing that is just so shitty and I just laugh at it. Like, just if you ever have like something that's really bothering you, think about it for a second and then just laugh and force yourself to laugh. And there's something called laughing yoga, which actually Marty and kind of Lawrence turned me on to, which is that if you laugh for 45 seconds, even if you're faking your laugh, eventually you're going to actually truthfully laugh. You're going to actually feel better about it. And laughing releases all kinds of endorphins and things and serotonin and all that kind of stuff in your brain, which makes you feel better about any situation. So if you can laugh anything off, like any situation, you just take it and laugh, you will feel so much better. It's almost like you will unlock the path to just finding the solution to it right away.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't solve a problem on your current level of awareness. Usually where that problem occurs, like you have to be able to raise like your awareness, and you do that through, laughing it off and be like, oh, I can handle this. This is nothing that's going to break me. And it's funny that you brought up that story, because I dealt with something very similar just a few days ago. About 3 months ago, I went into the hospital, just kind of unexpectedly. I thought I had an appendicitis. I had this pain in my lower right side. Mm-hmm. And I'm very cautious about the hospital, because I know it's basically a business. People mm-hmm. want to make money off of you. So I went in and I was like, if I don't do this and my appendix explodes, like I'm going to be in a pretty bad state. Yeah. So I was like, just as precautionary. So I went into the hospital, and it was very, like the whole space felt very, there's white walls. It felt like a prison. Mm-hmm. Like sterile lighting. So I'm sitting there, and I go in, and I just had a simple picture taken. I had a CAT scan, mm-hmm. and I left. So I was there for 3 hours, and they took a picture, and they were like, oh, we want to do surgery. We got to do exploratory surgery. It's not your appendix, but we need to explore this area right away. And I was like, I don't think, if it's not my appendix and if it's not immediate, I would like to wait a few days, mm-hmm. and we'll just see how it works. And so I left the hospital, and I got a bill for 10 grand.
What?
So the insurance that I had didn't cover like this form of procedure, and so the hospital, charged me 10 grand. And so I looked at it, and in my life, I've encountered all different types of stuff. Like when I wanted to do Kilimanjaro, I risked everything I had. I risked like 20 grand of my own money mm-hmm. To do it. And as I've evolved, like 4 years ago when I got that bill in the mail, like my mouth would have dropped to the ground, and I've been like, how am I going to deal with this? But I looked at it, and I'm like, you know what? I'll figure out a way to deal with this. This is nothing big. And so the hospital started calling me, and so I just went in and I met with their lawyers, and I sat down with them face to face, and I was like, listen, for you to charge $10,000 for me to walk into your hospital is ridiculous. And if I went forward with that procedure, you would have charged me 75 to 100 grand. You don't care about your patient. You care about the business, the organization. And it's very sad, because you have a lot of people that are coming into this place and are looking to be healed. They're looking for compassion, and you're taking advantage of their state, to profit. And there's a lot of things that aren't right in our healthcare system. That's another topic. But as a result of going in and talking to them face to face, I'd be like, you know what? I'm confident I'm going to get through this. They decreased it by like 50%. Like I built a pretty good relationship, because I gave the guy my card, and I was like, this is what I do. And, it's like you turn a negative into a positive, and you always hold to that belief that no matter what happens to me, if I get knocked down 7 times, I'm going to get back up 8. And I'm never going to surrender. I'm going to burn every single ship, doing what I want to do. And I have a faith that the world will give me the resources that I need when I need them. Mm-hmm. But I can only get those resources if I burn the ships and I take that leap into the unknown. If not, if you try to sit back on the ledge and, play the safety net game, it's like Dark Knight, like you can't jump and get out of this pit unless Absolutely. He just goes all in.
You have to believe it. I love that scene in Dark Knight. Batman is my freaking favorite. I'm not even going to lie. Yeah. This is how much of my favorite he is.
That's awesome.
I keep a Batman mask on my desk at all times, amongst the Buddha and some other things. But there's a Batman mask, because I love Batman. It's always a reminder. It's a reminder. See, it's my version of the wall, that you have.
And it's so great, because the metaphors of Batman, Mark, right? They're so powerful, and they can be applied directly to our lives. Like the Dark Knight Rises. He loses everything, but he stays to his belief, and he rises up, And those are the heroines that you always respect, you always look up to. And why not become that heroine in your own life? It's so important. And it's not just a movie, like those things are directly applicable to your life, and you can be
Absolutely.
your own version of Bruce Wayne.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think anybody can be Bruce Wayne. I believe that. The way I see it as you, I always strive to be the superhero that I know I am, and that I know that anybody could be. It's not just
Yeah,
me. It's not like I think I'm endowed with some kind of special anything. The only
yeah,
difference between me and the person who's not believing that is belief. It's the only
absolutely,
difference. And it's not like, oh, I believe this, so therefore it's true. No, I believe it, and therefore I make it true because I'm slowly but surely becoming the superhero who I want to be. I believe that
exactly.
I can be Batman, and anybody can. I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think I'm going to be there tomorrow, but in taking those steps, I am becoming it in a sense. I don't know if there will ever be a day where I'll be like, yeah, I kind of am Batman, but that's the point. I think that's part of the beauty of it is that even Batman thinks, man, I could do better. Even
Yeah,
Batman thinks this, and so it's like you. But the only way he really, really thinks it, and the lesson that it always shows you in these superhero movies is that you have to believe to achieve. You have to like
abs-
you have to jump the ledge without the rope and be willing to fall and die in a sense for his to get out of there, or he wasn't going to achieve it. He was never going to make that ledge because he always had that safety net that was going to hold him back. And
yeah,
and taking that leap of faith is scary. And I talk about it with people all the time, and they talk to me about it all the time, and it seems like it's a topic that surrounds me all the time. But I love to see people do it because I know they're going to make it. That's the
yeah,
best thing about it. My job and motivating people sometimes is like I know you're gonna make it, just but you gotta really make it. You gotta really do it. You gotta really believe. And I know when they believe and I know when they don't believe. You know, I think you see it in somebody's eyes, and I think you yourself know. You know, don't lie to yourself. You could cheat everyone in the world. You could tell everyone yeah, and this that and the other. But if you're not it, and as you said earlier, if you're not genuinely the person who's done that leap of faith and led by that example, we're all gonna see it eventually. But it doesn't
absolutely.
matter what we see. It matters what you see. It matters what you as the individual is going to see and feel when you say certain things that either aren't true or that you would want to be more true. And it's just
Absolutely.
like you gotta just take that leap. You know, you gotta take that leap. You gotta become that superhero, and everyone could be it.
Yeah, the power is always within you. You
Mm,
know, power doesn't lie in externals. It comes from you dealing with your own darkness, and that's what's so powerful about the Dark Knight. It's this constant process of confronting your fears and your perceived limitations. And true creators, people that operate at the highest levels, they're always humble because
hmm
you have to be, because you go through a system of mini deaths with every single journey you embark upon.
Yeah.
It's everything is evolving. Everything is constant change, and so you have to hold this frequency and this knowing and this belief to do the things that you want to do. And it's just always this evolution. And I think that's what enables you to really connect with people. Because you're constantly pushing yourself. You're kind of constantly going into these unknowns.
hmm
And it enables you to really connect with humanity. Like you understand suffering, you understand depression, you understand excitement. You experience all all parts of the scale, and
hmm
all parts of the emotional scale. And through doing that, like you can meet people where they're at. I mean, you can't heal anyone unless you kind of experience that emotion or that suffering like yourself. Like that's what provides you with the elixir.
Yeah, and you'll
And the
continue to
hero's journey.
experience it. It's not like people are like, "Oh, you experience it once now. All of a sudden, you're a superhero." No, you're going to
Exactly.
continue to face it. You're going to continue to face the adversity. You're going to go on the hero's journey time and time and time and time again. And you're going to be like, "No, I'm not in the hero's journey right now, or I'm not at that stage." But you are, and you just don't realize it sometimes. And it's so, oh man, it's a
Well,
ride. It's a
here's
ride.
the
I can't
thing
even
too.
explain it.
You can always tell the people that are real uh, as compared to someone that doesn't fully believe, because usually people that project, meaning they're really loud and they're constantly talking, it's a form of like insecurity. And in my life, whenever someone's just constantly talking to me about different things and they're constantly like projecting, like trying to force their beliefs,
hmm
it's I know that that person doesn't get it, and then I tune out.
Yeah.
And so it's just understanding, like with all these different things that are out there, if that person isn't spending time to connect with you personally, like to learn more about your story, if you don't feel that level of presence, then that person doesn't get it. Because you know, when you start interacting with everyone, you know, there's certain values that you can see in people, and I can intuitively read, you know, I can intuitively read where people are at, and
Absolutely.
I think it's so awesome too. I think the greatest gift in this life is seeing someone build a dream and then going into that dream with them, and then as a result, you building a dream and then bringing them into it. You know, I believe it's the greatest investment. It's far greater than the stock market. It's far greater than anything you can do, because you're linking yourself up with fellow creators that are building your path. And you know, if you have those connections, you'll never live a life of lack ever.
Oh, they'll
'Cause you'll
always
have other
inspire
reasons.
you. They'll always give you a job if you need it. They'll hook you up right at the moment where anything is about to happen. It's like, oh, I got a $5,000 or $10,000 bill, and now all of a sudden some other guy turns around and is like, hey, would you like to do this for $10,000? And it's like, yeah, okay, cool. It just being genuine, being the real superhero that you are, and believing it is the secret to life. It's the secret. You know, they have that book, The Secret. Never read it. I don't even need to. It's just one of those things where you just kind of know these things, and they kind of come to you. And people, they just don't get it when I say this kind of stuff sometimes. But people do. One thing I'm hopeful about with Valhalla and all these things is the more time I spend with Valhalla, the more time I do these projects and these things, the more I really find myself in a situation where more and more people make it true. You know, Valhalla is so much bigger than me or anything I've ever done and that I will ever do on my own. It's such a big thing, and it's all sorts of different pieces that are coming together, and we've truly turned into this hive mind of a group where it's like we're constant communication. You know, and then there's some people who I don't speak to that often, but I know and I feel your intention. It's like, you know, people might think, oh, you're on this podcast, we're best of friends, we talk every day. No, not at all. Me and you talk here and there randomly. Well, you'll share something, you'll post something with my name and tag Jordan or whatever. You wrote us a check. I see every once in a while the stuff that you do. I don't talk to you that often. But the point is, I don't even need to, because I know that you're doing awesome out there. I know you're spreading this message. You're making it happen. And, you know, the second the Skype call turns on, I feel it. I feel it, and I feel it because I'm in tune with it. I'm listening to the things and the signs and the stuff around me, and therefore it comes to me. You know, and recently I had a conversation with somebody who he asked me a question. He's like, how much do you really believe that if you intend something, it will come true? Like, how much do you believe it? And 2 days earlier, 3 days earlier, or a little bit earlier, I'd asked him the same question. And he said like 15%. He's like, I think it's really all about work and doing the work and stuff behind it. And I was like, man, that's weird, because you're such a superhero, and you achieve so much. He's one of my best friends. I don't want to name him, but the fact that he said that, I was like, man, it's such a limiting belief. Like, why wouldn't you just believe it, and it will actually unlock and make these things happen for you? And he'll say things more in a negative light. Like, something will be like, I'll be like, oh, this is going to happen. He's like, yeah, it's going to happen until it doesn't. And I'm like, no, but don't focus on the doesn't, because you're going to get the doesn't if you focus on that. If you focus on the will, I think the will will manifest. You will just manifest that will. I believe in this 100%. I literally told him, he's like, how much you believe in it? I'm like, literally not a shadow of a doubt in my mind tells me that if I believe something, that it won't happen. Like, if there's no way that if I believe it, truthfully believe it, that it won't actually happen. It always does. And people try and test this. I would love to have scientific proof of this somehow. But you know what? It's like,
what is scientific proof, though? It's just a perception, right?
Exactly. If I have to prove it to you scientifically, then you miss the entire point. Because it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not, because I believe it and it works for me. And people are like, yeah, but it's not reality. Well, excuse me, what's reality? Is reality what you believe or what you perceive? Or is it like just some obscure thing that is happening without you, and it's bigger than you? It's bigger than you, but you're a part of it. And if you believe it, it will be it. And that's, you know, I'll tell people this till the day I die. I'm sure.
Yeah, you know, and the thing is just understand that anytime you confront criticism, it's always, you know, I actually look at that as a positive, because it tells me that I'm doing something that most people think is scary, you know, and so then they start projecting, you know, their fears. And if you're not getting a pretty decent amount of criticism with what you're doing, you know, chances are you're not doing something epic enough. And I think about Roger Bannister a lot, the guy that broke the 4-minute mile. He would just visualize over and over and over again. I mean, obviously he would train, he would do the things other people would do, but he would visualize breaking it, you know, in his head, like coming in at like 3:57, you know, and so he did. And when he broke that barrier, it gave permission to the people around him to do the same. And so that following year, there was 37 people that broke the record. So if I have to go into the unknown and create a new paradigm for people to go into, I'm happy to take the arrows to do it, because I have a belief in myself that I can get there. And when I was in college, I'm 5'9", 195 pounds when I was in college, and I look like a kicker, you know. And I played middle linebacker, and I always envisioned, you know, being one of the best college football players. You know, at the level I played at the Division I AA level, the FCS level. And when I was a junior, I led the nation in unassisted tackles, and I set the current NCAA record for most unassisted tackles in a game. And here's the story that most people don't know is before I set that record, it was right before my 21st birthday, and I told myself, I want to give myself an epic present for my birthday. And so I ended up getting 21 unassisted tackles. And so it was a vision that became a reality. And as I experienced these different things, it forced me just to dream bigger and to continue to, you know, push the envelope. And that's how Mission Kilimanjaro resulted. That's how all these collaborations with all these different people have happened, because whenever I read books or watch movies or, you know, see an artist I like, I just figure out a way to contact them, and I figure out a way to collaborate, because I don't fear reaching out to them. I know I can provide value. I know that what I know, very few people grasp in this life, and I'm fully confident in my abilities.
Yeah, I mean, the story of the 4-minute mile, just to backtrack real quick, is amazing to me, because that to me is the scientific proof of the fact that if you believe, and if people start believing things, then it become true. Years and years and years, tons of people have tried to run a mile under 4 minutes. Doesn't happen. This one guy does it. Now all of a sudden, 37 people do it. What? I mean, what more do you need? He did it. He proved that it was possible. Because he proved it was possible, other people now surface this belief saying, hey, it is possible. And they did it.
Yeah.
It's not like some crazy supplement came out that all of a sudden they all took it, and now all of a sudden they can all run a mile in 4 minutes, or that somehow we converted a mile to being shorter distance and therefore now they can do it. No, nothing changed. All the things are actually exactly the same. All the factors are pretty much the same. We don't really have necessarily any better nutrition. We think we do. We think we have some things figured out. Not really. I mean, performance, the reason why records keep getting broken and broken and broken in the Olympics or in sports and all these things is because the bar gets set higher, and therefore people always put their beliefs above the bar, and then they go and they follow and they try and achieve and jump that bar and jump that bar, and slowly but surely we do it. People make it, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it again. Somebody's going to do it. One day somebody's going to run a mile under 3 minutes. I guarantee you it. It's going to happen. It's just one of those things that you cannot stop this gravy train of belief. It's amazing.
And the thing is, it's always within you, right? I mean, that's sometimes the problem of capitalism is what'll happen is people will create a void. Marketing. I'll create a void in your life. I'll tell you how you're not adequate in this area, and then I'll sell you the solution, you know? And with the Higher Purpose Project, it's very conscious of that, you know, and, you know, obviously we charge, you know, for this project because we had to fly in facilitators, we had to reserve space. It's a value, but I'm very confident that in the value that we're charging, it doesn't compare to what we're providing to people. We're showing them this world, and we're helping them to build their particular dreams. And I'm fully confident in my abilities to do that. I'm fully confident in the people that I bring on board to do it as well. And you know, it's amazing. You know, it's amazing to see that light go off in people's head and to see them do the things that they've always wanted to do since they were kids. You know, people of all ages, you know, people ranging from 19 years old to 55. It doesn't matter. You know, mindset keeps us young, and, you know, we can spend a lot of time in Neverland. It's great.
Absolutely. I mean, that light goes off. People understand that it's like setting fire to something. Fire spreads, and if you're like any person, in my opinion, is like a big pile of tinder just waiting to ignite. And they've got a full forest around them just waiting to go up in flames. But they can't get the spark to go into light sometimes. And people are like, yeah, but the money. I don't even know how much a higher purpose project costs. It doesn't even matter because no matter what it costs, it's worth it. No matter what it is, it's worth it. And I know it's very affordable. But the point is, it's worth it because that fire is going to light a fire that is so much bigger and is going to bring you so much more money and so much more everything that you potentially might want or that you're worried about that it's going to cost you or whatever it is. Yeah. It will bring you all of those things. It will put you in that awkward situation that you're going to feel outside of your comfort zone, and that's exactly what you're looking to do, right? I mean, if you ask me, that's exactly what you're trying to bring people. People are like, but it might be a little bit awkward. It might be this. Freaking perfect. That's what you're paying for. You're paying to get out of your comfort zone. You're paying to escape your current mindset, see something from a third eye view, and then realize, oh fuck, I'm screwed up, or I should be doing this, or and for some people it's a big change. For some people it's a radical thing, and for other people sometimes it's just that little thing. It's that little tweak of a thing. Like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't check my emails in the morning, and this is going to change my life. They listen to this podcast, and now all of a sudden, like, holy shit. You told me something that makes a lot of fucking sense to me, and it's changed my life. And that's what's happened to me. Tons of people, inspirational TED Talks, or you name it. I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast. These kind of things all change my perception on life, and it's amazing how it's a give and take. You know what I mean? We're all creating this win-win. I think the Higher Purpose Project is creating this win-win. It's one of those things you just have to experience. You know. I have nothing to say. Just consider it. Consider it. Consider doing something like that. Even if you don't have the money to go to something like the Higher Purpose Project, believe that you will and you'll have it. And even if for some reason you still can't go, whatever it is, take it on in your life. Take it on in your life. Take that kind of notion and put it into your brain and make it happen. And you'll be part of the change makers, and you'll support the Higher Purpose Project in another way.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest way, to influence people around you, be compassionate, be loving, be direct with them. And, through showing your support and, believing in the people around you, you light a fire up underneath them. Yeah. And it's up to all of us, to be accountable for the things that we say and to go out and do the things that we always talk about. And, the time is now. So there's no better time to take the leap. All the things you've experienced to this point have been perfect. They've led you to who you are and what you're doing and the person you've created. And just understand that you're the creator of your path. So you can take all of these experiences that you've had thus far and use them for your benefit in building a life that is aligned with who you are and who you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2 things. First of all, if somebody wants to get a taste of the Higher Purpose Project, and this is almost like a piece of advice that I would give you too. Yeah. Is there a way that somebody can attend a free mini seminar before this class kicks off? Is there something that I don't even know if this actually exists? And you tell me yes, I'm stoked. This is not a plug. I swear my life, I'm just asking. So it's awesome.
Yeah, so we're actually going to do a webinar. Just we're going to provide a lot of free value to people, just to give them a taste to. What one of our webinars consists of, and we're going to do that in mid-December. So I'll shoot you the link for that, and everyone can kind of join us for free. We would love to have you, and it's been really fun. Like these webinars is just this past week I interacted with Pat Solomon, who's the director of Finding Joe. So we talked about the hero's journey, and he went on his own little hero's journey to talk with Deepak Chopra and Lard Hamilton and Brian Johnson and all these guys to create this really amazing documentary all on the hero's journey, everything that I believe. And so I brought him into the Higher Purpose Project, and he came with us to California, and he was able to provide lessons from his own experiences building the film, which so many of our attendees really loved. And then the week before that, I talked with Eric Weinmeier. He's completely blind, and he summited Everest. And so it's just a lot of doers, people that have kind of gone through the gamuts of everything. And I think one of the universal factors within all just amazing creators is they go into their darkness, because out of the darkness rises the light. It's the phoenix. It's the dark night rises. It's all the same metaphors. Again, it's Christ. It's all the same metaphors. And it's amazing. It's just being reminded of those and how to incorporate those metaphors and those teachings into our daily lives.
Cool. So people can attend a free kind of webinar at some point mid-December. We'll have links to that. The other thing you could do is you could go check out the Higher Purpose Project on Facebook.
Yeah.
The website, which is thehigherpurposeproject.com, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
not assuming, right. I know.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you have Twitter and Instagram, all these things. You can go find them on the social media, whatever social media choice that you have that works for you.
The key is too is, apply, take the leap, because we would love to learn more about your story. So right now we're in the process of reading all these different applications, and just like write out your story. Take the time. I think it'll be really beneficial for people just to do it regardless. If they move with a project or not, because it gets you more clarity into what you've done and what you want to become, and it's all good. And we would love to learn more about your story and about what you're doing.
Yeah. And I mean, know that your money and all your experience and all these things go to benefiting the consciousness of the world, but it goes to benefiting people like these superheroes who are going to be teaching you guys some things, or like Dan, who slaves away. I know he slaves away to make these kind of projects and things happen in reality. And I want to give a public shout out to the fact that Dan actually donated some money off the first pilot project of the Higher Purpose to Valhalla. It's we're using it to fulfill some of the deeds that Valhalla needs to do. Like we're putting money towards solar panels right now. We're setting up Wi-Fi on the land. We're going to build a welcome desk on the land right now to be able to deal with volunteers and allow them to come and be a part of the experience. And that will also in turn help us. It's amazing how much contribution people can give through any way, shape, or form, whether it be money, whether it be donations, whether it be actually attending something like the Higher Purpose Project, whether it be just sharing, whether it literally just be going on Facebook, liking the page, saying, hey, guys, I think what you're doing is awesome, giving that little boost to whoever it is, sending out that kind of positive vibe and letting that positive vibe flow through the universe. All those things help. People ask me, how can I help the Valhalla movement? How can I help Higher Purpose Project? How can I help the Feel Good Lifestyle, High Existence, whatever, all these things that I'm related to, or I know people who do these things. The best way is you can just send it some love. Send it some love. Show, a couple of clicks can change the outcome of how well these projects do work. A couple of shares, a couple of likes, comments, all these things help us get this further and further and further, make this message transgress maybe other messages that you're seeing that, like, some ad for something shitty.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing is, it's these initiatives, Valhalla, the Higher Purpose Project. It's bigger than we are. It's bigger than any one person, and that's what's so amazing about it.
It's a higher purpose.
It's right. It's a universal understanding. It's a metaphor that we can all apply to our life. And the reason that I'm so inspired by what you're doing, Mark, is you're leading the charge. You're embodying the change rather than focusing on the negatives of the system. Oh, we don't have this or we don't have that. Like, all right, well, what can I do to create that positive change that I want to see in the world? And that's what Valhalla is. And I'm so inspired by that. And to be able to give back money, that's the whole reason I created the Higher Purpose Project. I mean, we take proceeds and we donate it to people like yourself. We have an intention challenge at the end of the project, where we provide seed money, to one of the attendees that has a vision that's, aligned with our mission, and it's voted upon, among the attendees and the facilitators, and we have the ability to provide value to people, help them forward. And so it's just, money is just energy. It's just like anything else, and it's our duty to make sure that we're, putting that energy towards positive causes, which is the Valhalla movement. It's awesome.
Killer. You need my help on anything, you let me know. That's all I can
Absolutely,
say.
Man. I love you, Mark, and I really appreciate all the stuff that you're doing, man.
Same to you, man. The feeling is mutual. What you feel towards me is what you feel towards you, and what I feel towards you is what I feel towards me, right?
Absolutely.
Anyway, more information, higherpurposeproject.com. Check it out on Facebook. There'll be links in the description.
And please feel free, too, if you want to reach out to me personally. I'm always looking for awesome, like-minded people to connect with. You can connect with me via Facebook on the higherpurposeproject.com, all my handles, LinkedIn, Twitter, all that good stuff. You can connect with me on there, and I look forward to hearing about your story.
There you go, yeah. So based normally on the template, it would be right above you, all those Twitter things, all that stuff. It's all here, somewhere.
Nice.
And
technology is awesome.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And don't forget to subscribe. And press like. More people see it. You can download this podcast, by the way, if you want. SoundCloud, iTunes, that kind
This
of
is
jazz.
going to all my friends and family, Mark. You know,
Oh, come on.
you're
They're
gonna
all
get
going
it
to
for the
know my
holiday.
name now?
Be part of their holiday greeting card. It's gonna be great.
Awesome. I've always wanted to be part of a holiday greeting card.
Nice.
Okay, cool, man. So look, check out more info. Love having you here, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.